أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم.
Translation: Your God is the one God. There is no God except Him, the most compassionate and most merciful. Explanation: It is important for people to know that there is no God except Allah. He is most merciful and most compassionate. No one can save them from His punishment. It is only He who could save them. Thus, it is important that they seek His guidance, repent from the wrongdoings, and follow Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in letter and spirit.
إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون.
Translation: In the creation of the heavens and earth, in the alternation of night and day, in the ships that sail the seas with goods for the benefit of people, in the water which Allah sends down from the sky to give life to the earth when it has been barren, scattering all kinds of creatures over it, in the changing of the winds and clouds that run their appointed courses between the sky and earth, there are signs for those who use their minds. Explanation: Allah is explaining to us that everything in this cosmos has a special significance and purpose, and all these things are His signs. But who can recognize them? Allah says that people who use their minds can recognize them. How do we use our minds to recognize these signs? Let us discuss it in a little detail. There are 5 internal faculties of our brain that help in processing the information and restoring it for future use. They are: first, common sense; second, incredulity, doubt; third, imagination; fourth, notion, thought; and fifth, memory. Common sense is the processor that analyzes the information in the following 2 ways. A. If the information is coming from outside through our external senses like eyes, touch, taste, etc., the process is called as incredulity, doubt. B. If the information is coming from inside, the process is called imagination. There are 2 drives or reservoirs in our brain where processed information is dumped for future use. These are notion, thought, and memory. When we look at an outside picture, the common sense studies it and separates meanings from the apparent picture. For example, when we look at a tiger, our common sense separates the meaning powerful from tiger's picture, and the information analyzed is tiger is powerful. The process of separating meanings from outside picture in the common sense is known as the process of incredulity, doubt. Why this process is called incredulity, doubtful? Because drawing of meanings by individual men and women could be right or wrong depending upon their knowledge or ignorance about facts of things. Like, a person is looking at a handmade idol. His common sense is analyzing the picture and drawing the meanings that the idol is his god. Another person is looking at the same idol and his common sense is drawing the meaning that the idol is a statue of mud or metal made by a human being which does not have life and power even to move on its own. When we move our attention away from the outside thing, the picture goes into the notional reservoir and its meanings go into our memory. After some time, when we draw our attention back on that thing, its picture comes out of the notional reservoir and its meaning come out of our memory, and together they become visible in our common sense. Imagination is also the name of the process of our common sense. In imagination, the thing does not come from outside, it comes from our mind. People belonging to all religions, all regions and ethnic background are basically reasonable, and when they are explained issues in the light of facts and logic, they will understand it. It will not take much time for them to find the right path of their creator. It is their scholars and leaders who have concocted stories and convinced them to believe in them. Like someone among the early religious elderly, among idol worshippers, imagined a face or form consisting of head of an elephant over a human body. They imagined the shape to be knowledgeable and eloquent. They gave a name to this form, Ganesha, and brought it out in the world in the shape of an idol which has a long trunk and a big belly, and convinced their followers that this is their god. Gradually, it became a popular Hindu idol god. Similarly, when some religious elderly among idol worshippers looked at cow, they associated motherhood with it as people drink its milk. They also drew the meaning of sacredness with cow and considered cow as divine and started worshipping it. It is in Quran, and we specified 40 nights from Musa alayhi salam, and then while he was away, you started worshipping the calf, and you surely were wrongdoers in that worship. Al Baqara 51. In the same way, some religious elderly among idol worshippers imagined about the beginning of life. They could not understand it as to when life began on planet Earth. Their imagination rested on penis. They imagined it to be sacred and divine. They made an idol of human penis and started worshipping it. Their followers followed them in this worship. They are known as people of Lingayat. Needless to say that all idol gods and deities worshipped in the world in human history have originated from the imagination of different people. This was the reason there were 360 idols placed in and around Kaaba, and their number was increasing all the time. When Christians looked at the miraculous birth of Isa alayhi salam, they could not understand it, and there was no male intervention in his birth. Their common sense concluded that he is the Son of God. Astaghfirullah. If they had used their minds and pondered over the facts of things and sought Allah's guidance, they would have realized that as Adam alayhi salam was born without biological father and mother, it is possible that Isa alayhi salam can come into this world without a biological father. Some Muslim sects like Salafis and their like-minded groups read certain metaphorical verses, ayat-e mutashabbihat of Quran, and misinterpret them on the basis of their textual meanings and claim that, na'uz billah, Allah is a huge planetary idol god who has a physical body like humans and is sitting over the skies. They worship the sky idol god 5 times a day during their salah. If they had studied Quran and a hadith in the guidance of sheikhs of Ihsan, who are true Islamic monotheists, and pondered over the creation of this cosmos and sought Allah's guidance, they would have understood the facts of things in this cosmos. All animals they sacrifice is in the name of this sky idol god, and all their prayer and supplications are made to the sky god. How do we escape from the clutches of misleading people in power and their associate corrupt scholars on earth? The only way is to turn our attention towards our Creator and seek His protection or guidance. Supplicate to the One who has created you and ask for His help to find you His path. He will show you His path. Remember, there is only one God who is the creator of this cosmos. He does not have any partners. Divinity only rests in Him. Other than Him is spurious. It is in Quran, had there been within the skies and earth gods besides Allah, they both would have been ruined. So exalted is Allah, Lord of the throne, above what they describe. Al-Anbiya 22. Quran is the only book that has not been altered since its descent. How can it be possible without the intervention of God? It is in Quran. We, Allah, have descended Quran and we only will preserve it. Al-Hijr 9. Allah has challenged the entire humanity and jinns many a time in Quran that if they doubt in Quran, they should bring a surah like that of Quran. Since the word of Allah and the word of His creature cannot be equated, this challenge remains unfulfilled and will remain so till the day of resurrection. It is in Quran. If you doubt in this Quran, which has been sent down on our chosen servant, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then bring a chapter like it and call all your helpers other than Allah if you are truthful. Al Baqara 23. It is important that every human being on planet Earth belonging to any faith, region, and ethnic background read this book, the Quran, carefully. Your sincere reading and supplications to your Creator in showing His path will surely lead you to His path. It is also important that you find a sincere teacher to explain you the meanings of the Quran. Supplicate to your Creator to find you a teacher in this context.
وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَندَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِذْ يَرَوْنَ الْعَذَابَ أَنَّ الْقُوَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعَذَابِ.
Translation. Yet there are among humankind those who take to themselves objects of worship as rivals to Allah, loving them with a love like that which is the due of Allah only, while those who truly believe are firmer in their love of Allah. If only those who do this wrong could see, as they will see when they behold the punishment, that the power altogether belongs to Allah and that Allah is severe in punishment. Explanation. For many people, creatures are real and God is notional, a thing in thought. They associate divinity with certain creatures, forms and shapes and concoct false stories about these man-made gods and go astray. It is in Quran. Transcendent, magnificent is your Lord, the Lord of all greatness, far above what they ascribe to Him. As-Saffat 180. It is in Hadith. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, Allah was a hidden treasure. Then He wanted to be known. Therefore, He created this cosmos. Everything in this cosmos, from the invisible microorganism to the huge stars, including human beings, have been drawn from His being, existence. It is in Quran. Allah is the light, existence of heavens and earth. An-Nur 35. It is in Quran. Allah is the first and the last. He is the manifest, apparent, and the immanent, hidden, but actually present throughout the material world. And He knows about all the things. Al-Hadid 3. The source of all creation is Allah, who is also the source of our existence. This is denoted in Islamic cradle testimony, Shahada, Kalima Tayyaba. There is no real God but Allah, and Muhammad ﷺ is the apostle of Allah. True Muslims are knowledgeable. They are aware of the facts of things in this cosmos. They look at everything and deal with it as per its exigency, necessity. But their common sense does not stay with visible things. It reaches to the source, Allah.
إذ تبرأ الذين اتبعوا من الذين اتبعوا ورأوا العذاب وتقطعت بهم الأسباب.
Translation. When those who have been following disown their followers, when they all see the suffering, when all bonds between them are severed. Explanation. The people in power, corrupt scholars, and the founders of deviant sects who are followed by many people will disassociate themselves from all their followers on the day of judgment. Even Satan will disassociate himself from everyone who fell victim to his insinuation and led a rebellious life in his company. It is in Quran. When everything has been decided, Satan will say, Allah gave you a true promise. I too made promises, but they were all false. I had no power over you except to call you, and you responded to my call. So do not blame me. Blame yourselves. I cannot help you, nor can you help me. In front of Allah, I deny your association with me in your lives. Allah says, a bitter torment awaits such wrongdoers. Ibrahim 22. The kings, the politicians in power, the misleading scholars, and even Satan will not be able to save their followers. Each of them will want nothing to do with the other. Everyone will be confined to what they have earned. It is important to note that Satan and the people in power or corrupt scholars do not have the authority to compel any person to do anything he or she does not want to do. In fact, no one has any power or authority over any human being whatsoever. The absolute authority rests in Allah, and Allah has given freedom of action to all His servants. And in this freedom, no one has the power to make you do things forcefully. If a tyrant king makes you do things as per his evil whims, and you are subjected to torture, if Allah wills, He would reward you freedom in this life. And if you die, you will get bountiful rewards in hereafter. What actually happens in most of the cases is, Satan, evil rulers, and corrupt scholars mislead people by their convincing skills and by providing some worldly benefits like money. They will also warn people, and if they do not follow their advice, they may lose worldly comforts. It is in Quran. Satan threatens you with poverty and convinces you for immorality, while Allah promises you forgiveness from Him and bounty. And Allah is all-encompassing and knowing. Al Baqara 268. Satan and his associate scholars make people act voluntarily as per their whims. This is known as the convincing power. But as Allah has said repeatedly in His book, those who follow Satan or his associates are the ones who already have an inclination and desire to act evil in their hearts. This is the reason they start following evil. But those who believe in their Lord do not fall victims to Satan or his associates. It is in Quran. Surely He has no authority over those who believe and rely on their Lord. An-Nahl 99. This is the reason on the day of judgment, Satan and his associates will abandon their followers. Satan will confess that all he could do was to call people for sin. Whoever responded to this call has only himself or herself to blame.
وقال الذين اتبعوا لو أن لنا كرة فنتبرأ منهم كما تبرؤوا منا كذلك يريهم الله أعمالهم حسرات عليهم وما هم بخارجين من النار.
Translation. And when the followers will say, if only we could have another chance at life, we would disown them as they disowned us. Thus shall Allah show them their deeds as regrets for themselves, and they shall never be able to leave the fire. Explanation. When the relationships of the followers will be cut off from their scholars, what will be left is only regret. They will cry, asking for one more chance to go back to the world, but their request to return to this world for another try will not be granted. The regret will not save them from hellfire. It is in Quran. O people, be mindful of your Lord and fear a day when no parent will avail their child, nor a child avail their parent in any way. Allah's promise is true, so do not let the present life delude you, nor let the deceiver delude you about Allah. Luqman 33.
يا أيها الناس كلوا مما في الأرض حلالا طيبا ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين.
Translation: O mankind, eat what is good and lawful from the earth, and do not follow Satan's footsteps, for he is your sworn enemy. Explanation: Allah is addressing the entire mankind in this verse, believers and non-believers both, and reminds all of them of His bounties provided on this earth. You can eat and use everything lawfully, but do not follow Satan in disbelief and rebellion and in using unlawful things. Allah is cautioning us again and again about Satan, who is a sworn enemy of mankind.
إنما يأمركم بالسوء والفحشاء وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون.
Translation: He, the Satan, only convinces you to evil and indecency, and that you should speak against Allah the things about which you have no knowledge. Explanation: Allah says Satan convinces people to do evil, indecency, and rebellion. How Satan convinces people? He attacks human minds by creating evil promptings and suggestive considerations. There is one more enemy within ourselves, which is known as nafs. Satan colludes with nafs to lead us to evil. We get good and bad thoughts both. How do we recognize that these thoughts are originating from which source? There is a science of considerations, and our Sufiyai Karam train people in recognizing these considerations and act safely. We provide below a brief account for the benefits of our readers. In all, we get the following 4 types of thoughts and considerations. First, satanic consideration. Their work is to create disbelief about Allah, lead you towards lustful indecency, like taking out your clothes and exposing private parts in the name of physical fitness. They also prompt you to rebel against the commandments of Sharia and breaking the established principles of Islam. They also provoke you to rebel against the Prophet ﷺ, disrespect him, and treat him as an ordinary sinful human being. Second, anima's consideration. The objective of the anima is to enjoy, eat, drink, dress, marry, lead a luxurious life, and spend most of the time in indecent worldly affairs and playfulness. But if you train nafs, it also becomes rational. The nafs does not have common sense. It wants all luxurious desires and does not care whether these are earned lawfully or unlawfully. Third, angelic consideration. These thoughts are meant to stop a person from evil deeds and to differentiate between virtue and evil. Fourth, compassionate consideration. It enriches the person with divine gnosis. What is the difference between consideration and determination? A consideration is a thought that comes and goes. If a person firmly resolves to do something, the consideration becomes determination. The consideration is forgivable, but the determination is not. If a person strongly willed to do a bad thing, but in view of some hindrance could not do it, then this will be treated as determination, which is sin, subjected to punishment. But this sin is smaller than the performance of the actual act. In any case, from morning till evening, several good and bad thoughts come to our minds, and it is important that we recognize them and play safe.
وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ.
Translation: And when it is said to them, follow what Allah has revealed, They say, rather we will follow that which we found our fathers doing. What? Even though their fathers understood nothing, nor were they guided. Explanation. There are two dimensions to the above, as follows. First, idol worshippers and unbelievers. Every prophet in the history of mankind faced this problem. When the prophet asked his nation to follow the commandments of Allah revealed to him, they said, how can we leave the traditions of our forefathers? Second, deviant sects. There are millions of followers of innumerable deviant sects and their subgroups among Muslim community. The founders of all these deviant sects convinced their followers that the actual teachings of Islam were different from what Muslims practiced. Tyrant rulers supported these scholars in order to keep their hold on certain Muslim countries. They misinterpreted Quranic verses and ahadith which were related to unbelievers and applied them on Muslims in order to lead their followers away from Islam. That is how they created so many deviant sects and groups among Muslims. Now, when we tell these followers that what they believe is not Islamic belief, they insist on their deviant belief their ancestors followed under the guidance of deviant scholars and rulers. It is in hadith. Ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu considered the Khawarij and the heretics, Salafis, Deobandi, Shias and their like-minded groups as the worst beings in creation, and he said, they went to verses which were revealed about the disbelievers and applied them to the believers, prophets, Sahaba, Awliya Allah and Muslims. Bukhari.
وَمَثَلُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا كَمَثَلِ الَّذِي يَنْعِقُ بِمَا لَا يَسْمَعُ إِلَّا دُعَاءً وَنِدَاءً صُمٌّ بُكْمٌ عُمْيٌ فَهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ.
Translation. The example of those who disbelieve is such as someone calling to an animal that hears nothing but a call and a cry. They are deaf, mute and blind, so they do not understand. Explanation. The verb calls to is used to describe a shepherd gathering his livestock. He shouts and calls out so that his livestock would gather and follow him. The call is to seek animals' attention. The animals only hear calls and shouts and understand nothing more than that. Following a deviant scholar is just like that. Allah is saying that people do not use their faculties of understanding, listening and seeing that have been awarded to them from their Lord. They blindly follow deviancy, be it from their desires or from a deviant scholar. They do not understand and act like deaf, mute and blind towards the commandments of Allah and His Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is in Quran, have they not traveled about the earth? Do they not have hearts to understand with or ears to hear with? It is not their eyes which are blind, but the hearts within their chests which are blind. Al-Hajj 46.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم واشكروا لله إن كنتم إياه تعبدون.
Translation. O you who believe, eat from the good things which we have provided for you and be grateful to Allah if it is Him that you worship.
إنما حرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل به لغير الله فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم.
Translation. He has only forbidden to you dead animals, blood, the flesh of swine, and that which has been dedicated to other than Allah. But whoever is forced by necessity, neither desiring nor transgressing, there is no sin upon him. Indeed, Allah is most forgiving and most merciful. Explanation. What is the purport of the command that a thing which has been dedicated to other than Allah is forbidden? It is with reference to what we intend and commit by saying at the time of sacrificing the animal. The Makkan pagans used to say, Bismillati wal Uzza, in the name of Lat and Uzza, the deities of Makkan pagans. Against this, it was established in Islam that Muslims say, Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, in the name of Allah, and Allah is supreme. Islam teaches us to take the name of Allah before everything we do. It is in Hadith. It is narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, everything which does not start with the praise of Allah is vitiated, devoid of virtue. Musnad Ahmad. This is the reason Fatiha and Isal Thawab is so popular among Muslims. We cook food, sacrifice animals in the name of Allah, and dedicate recompense, Thawab, to awliya Allah and dead Muslims. The people who are dead surely get benefited from Fatiha and Isal Thawab in life after death. Isal Thawab is Sunnah, proved by so many Hadith. Fatiha is one of the kinds of Isal Thawab. It is in Hadith. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that a person came to the audience of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and submitted that his sister has made a vow, Nazr, that she would do Hajj. But she died without doing it. On this, the Prophet ﷺ said, if she had a loan, would you pay it? He said, yes, I would. The Prophet ﷺ said, pay the loan due to Allah. He deserves to be paid more than anybody else. Bukhari, Muslim. It is in Hadith, Buraidah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that when he was sitting with the Prophet ﷺ, a woman came and said, O Prophet ﷺ, I had given a slave maid to my mother and now my mother is dead. The Prophet ﷺ said, your retribution, jaza, is a certainty and the inheritance has returned that slave maid back to you. Then the woman said, O Prophet ﷺ, my mother had an obligation to keep 1 month's fast. Shall I keep fast on her behalf? Again, she said, O Prophet ﷺ, she had never done Hajj. Shall I do Hajj on her behalf? The Prophet ﷺ said, do Hajj on her behalf. Muslim. It is in Hadith, a sweet water well was dug for the dead mother of Sa'ad radiallahu ta'ala anhu in Madinan during Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time. And it was announced, this well is for the mother of Sa'ad radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Both rich and poor used to drink water from that well. Abu Dawood, Nasai. It is in Hadith, Ummul Mu'mineen Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that a person came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my mother died all of a sudden. In my opinion, if she had lived, she would have done some charity. If I do it on her behalf, will she get the recompense, sawab? The Prophet ﷺ said, yes. Bukhari, Muslim. The above hadith confirm Isal Thawab to the dead. If we do any charity or good deeds and donate the recompense to them, they get it in life after death. If you recite Quran, feed the poor, or do any kind of charity and donate the recompense to our dead relatives, it reaches them in hereafter and is beneficial for them. It is in Hadith, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, 3 things continue to benefit a believing person even after death. Charity, which he had given, which continues to benefit others. Beneficial knowledge, which he had left behind, that is authored or taught. And supplication on his behalf by a righteous child. Muslim. It is in Quran, verily, the good deeds remove the evil deeds. That is a reminder for the mindful, those who accept advice. Hud 114. It is in Quran, except those who repent and believe and do righteous deeds, for those Allah will change their sins into good deeds, and Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. Al-Furqan 70. The above Quranic verses and a hadith signify the importance of Isal Sawab to our dead relatives. Who knows our good deeds done with the intention to benefit them carry unlimited thawab to them and help in removal of their bad deeds or convert their bad deeds into good ones. This way, they get significant assistance from the living people to increase their sawab even after their deaths. What do we do in Fatiha? We cook food and recite the verses of Quran and feed the people and send the recompense to our dead relatives. It is important that we repeat Fatiha more often so that our dead relatives get more thawab. Fatiha is a requirement established by Prophet ﷺ's commandment and is in practice since the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. The deviant sects like Salafis, Deobandis mislead Muslims against Fatiha and Isal Thawab. They say that if you sacrifice an animal for Isal Thawab for some Wali Allah or dead Muslim, this is haram. With this logic, they claim that food of Fatiha is haram. It is in hadith. At the time of sacrificing the animals, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to say, O Allah, this is for you and from you. O Allah, this is from Muhammad ﷺ and Ali Nabi ﷺ. In the name of Allah who is supreme. And, O Allah, this is from the ones, your servants, who stood witness to my conveying your message. Abu Dawud, Ahmad. Slaughtering of animals for deities is different from sacrificing them in the name of Allah for conveying recompense, thawab, to the needy. All Muslims in the world sacrifice animals by saying, Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. Where is shirk in it? Muslims sacrifice animals in the name of Allah and supplicate Allah to convey its thawab to the dead Muslims. This is an important Islamic deed. But Wahhabis, Salafis, Deobandis and their like-minded go against the established principles and lead people away from Islam.
إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزل الله من الكتاب ويشترون به ثمنا قليلا أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار ولا يكلمهم الله يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم.
Translation. As for those who conceal from the book that Allah sent down and sell it for a small price, they eat nothing but fire in their bellies. Allah will not speak to them on the day of resurrection, nor will He purify them, and agonizing torment awaits them. Explanation. The scholars who mislead Muslims and form sects to make some money should know that their attempts of hiding facts from their followers will not help them in hereafter. What they are doing is, for a small price, they are actually filling their bellies with fire.
أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى والعذاب بالمغفرة فما أصبرهم على النار.
Translation. Those are the ones who have exchanged guidance for error and forgiveness for punishment. How persistent they are in their struggle to cast themselves into the fire.
ذلك بأن الله نزل الكتاب بالحق وإن الذين اختلفوا في الكتاب لفي شقاق بعيد.
Translation. That is because Allah has sent down the book with the truth, and indeed those who differ over the book are in extreme dissension.
ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون.
Translation: Righteousness is not that you turn your faces towards the east or the west. Rather, righteousness is belief in Allah, the last day, the angels, the book, and the prophets, and to give well, however cherished, to relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, to those who ask, and for freeing slaves. It is to establish prayer and give zakah, to honor the promise when it is made, and to be patient in poverty and hardship and during battle. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are the mindful.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم.
Translation: O you who believe, fair retribution is prescribed against you in cases of murder. The free man for the free man, the slave for the slave, the female for the female. But if the perpetrator is pardoned by his aggrieved brother, this shall be adhered to fairly, and the perpetrator shall pay what is due in goodwill. This is easing from your Lord and an act of mercy. If anyone then exceeds these limits, grievous suffering awaits him. Explanation: Taking revenge for something wrong done by someone is in human nature, especially in a tribal setting. This is more prevalent. The tribes remain in war with each other for decades in these revenge killings. Islam changed all that. The divine command is that the retribution for a murder has to be limited to the extent of damage alone. It cannot be more. Even in this, if the aggrieved party is willing, they can pardon the murderer by accepting an agreed money, known as diya. There is no retaliation in Islam. There is no mutilation of bodies in revenge, nor punishment of an entire family or population for the crimes of one member. Allah wants us to acknowledge that revenge aggression does not produce any good. Rather, it ignites the fires of hatred and bloodshed. The above commandment is not new. Similar legislation were in force for the followers of earlier prophets. It is in Quran. In the Torah, we prescribed for them a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, an equal wound for a wound. If anyone forgoes this out of charity, it will serve as atonement for his bad deeds. Those who do not judge according to what Allah has revealed are doing grave wrong. Al-Ma'idah 45.
وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ.
Translation: And there is saving of life for you in legal, fair retribution, O people of understanding, so that you may guard yourselves against what is wrong. Explanation: In cases of murder, justice is served not through revenge killing, rather it is served by killing the perpetrator or murderer. Additionally, in order to cleanse malice and vengeful hatred from the hearts of the people, Allah granted the victim's guardian the right to either kill or pardon the murderer. Thus, the life of the killer is put in the hands of the victim's guardian. If the guardian chooses to forgive, it would be his or her honorable choice. There is no compulsion on him. The issue of qisas has been dealt with in detail in Islamic penal law. The rules in this context are for the promotion of peace and amity in human society.
كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين.
Translation: It is prescribed for you when death approaches one of you, and if he has some good inheritance to leave, to make a will in favor of his parents and relatives, correctly and fairly. It is a duty for all those who are righteous. Explanation: The meaning of the word kutiba is it is obligatory, like salah and fasting have been made obligatory for you. Inheritance is another subject that has been dealt with in Islamic law in detail. Islam is against the wealth to be accumulated in the hands of a few individuals. It should be distributed fairly among people. There are two options in distribution of inheritance that work side by side. These are, first, the will, and second, the inheritance. And in consideration of the nature of these options, the will gets preference in the distribution of heredity, as the will is the reformer of inheritance. The rules of inheritance have been detailed in Quran as follows. It is in Quran, Allah instructs you concerning your children for the male what is equal to the share of two females. But if there are only daughters, two or more, for them is 2/3 of one's estate. And if there is only one, for her is half, and for one's parent, to each one of them is 1/6 of his estate if he left children. But if he had no children, and the parents alone inherit from him, then for his mother is 1/3, and if he had brothers or sisters, for his mother is 1/6, after any bequest he may have made or debt. Your parents or your children, you know not which of them are nearest to you in benefit. These shares are an obligation prescribed by Allah. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing and all-wise. An-Nisa 11. The meaning of al-wasiyat is emphatic command. Therefore, the meaning of yusikumullah is Allah emphatically commands. The meaning of al-wasiyat is also to decide and authorize distribution of a part of inheritance to those who do not fall under the category of direct heirs, and for religious works, and for alms to the poor and needy. It is in Quran, and for you is half of what your wives leave if they have no child. But if they have a child, for you is 1/4 of what they leave, after any bequest they may have made or debt. And for the wives is 1/4 if you leave no child. But if you leave a child, then for them is 1/8 of what you leave, after any bequest you may have made or debt. If a man or woman leaves neither ascendants nor descendants, but has a brother or a sister, then for each one of them is 1/6. But if they are more than two, they share 1/3, after any bequest which was made or debt, as long as there is no detriment, cost. This is an ordinance from Allah, and Allah is knowing and forbearing. An-Nisa 12. When the shares of the heirs have been fixed, it is also commanded in Quran to write a will for non-heirs and for repayment of loans, etc. The rules for writing a will of inheritance are as follows. It is in Quran, And when other relatives and orphans and the needy are present at the time of division, then provide for them something out of the estate and speak to them words of appropriate kindness. An-Nisa 8. It is in Quran, and let not those of virtue among you and wealth swear not to give aid to their relatives and the needy and the immigrants for the cause of Allah, and let them pardon and overlook. Would you not like that Allah should forgive you? And Allah is forgiving and merciful. Al-Nur 22. It is in Hadith narrated by Hadrat Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, writing of a will is not allowed for a hair until all other hairs agree. Abu Dawud, Ibn Majah, Ahmad. Since the issue of inheritance and will of inheritance are important subjects, we have written below some details in this context. 3 things have been described in Quran. A. The share of heirs. B. Repayment of loan. And C. Writing of a will. To write a will in favor of an heir is not necessary because the shares of heirs have already been determined by Quran. Thus, the will can be written for 1/3 of the inheritance and the 2/3 is left for the distribution among heirs. The shares of inheritance of lawful heirs have been fixed in the Quran. For others, it is commanded to write a will. However, the beneficiaries of the will and their shares have not been fixed. The assistance to people who are not heirs have been left to the discretion of the writer of the will. The discretionary choice given to a person is only for those beneficiaries who do not fall under the category of direct heirs, and this is after the allotment and assertment of lawful heirs' portions. It is in Hadith narrated by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to inquire about me when I was ill and asked me, have you written a will? I said, yes, I have done it. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, how much? I said, the entire wealth owned by me for charity in the path of Allah. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, what have you left for your children? I submitted that they are rich and are in fine shape. On this, the Prophet ﷺ asked me to write a will for 1/10 part. Then I started requesting the Prophet ﷺ for reduction of inheritance to the children until he ﷺ said, okay, write a will for 1/3 of your wealth for charity, and 1/3 is also plenty. Tirmidhi. However, if all heirs agree, the will can be returned for more than 1/3 of inheritance. If there are no heirs, then the will can be returned for the entire wealth because there is no one to object over it. The sequence of distribution of wealth is first the will is taken into consideration, then the repayment of loans of the deceased will be taken care of, and then payments will be made to the heirs as per the shares prescribed in Quran. The will has been placed ahead of repayment of loan and distribution of inheritance to legal heirs. The reason for giving precedence to the will is that the heirs consider the wealth of the deceased as their own, and in process, the loans taken by the deceased during his lifetime remains unpaid. Sometimes it so happens that the person takes a loan from people on which there is no witness or deponent. In such circumstances, there is apprehension that the loan amount could be lost in the absence of witnesses. If the heirs do not accept the repayment of this kind of loan, then this can be taken care by the amount of the will.
فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَمَا سَمِعَهُ فَإِنَّمَا إِثْمُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يُبَدِّلُونَهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ.
Translation. And should anyone alter the will after hearing it, its sin shall indeed be on those who alter it. Surely Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Explanation. Sometimes it so happens that the dying person makes a will in front of some people who happen to be in front of him at the time of death, or he makes a will during his lifetime and makes some people as witnesses. As at the time of distribution of inheritance, the person is already dead. Allah is warning people who are witnesses to the will to be sincere in implementing it as per the wishes of the deceased. If they alter it, it is a great sin and they will face the consequences of their lies in this world and in hereafter. The will is the only thing to which people showed indifference, while the Prophet ﷺ has commanded us not to pass 2 nights without a written will of inheritance. The deed of inheritance has to be kept safely to be open only after the death of that person. In view of its importance, the Quran has commanded to keep 2 witnesses to the deed of inheritance. As per Quranic directive, when the will is read out to 2 witnesses, it is preferable to keep it somewhere safe out of reach of greedy people. Islamic imperatives are comprehensive and complete. The commandments given for inheritance are also unequivocal and non-amendable. A will should be written in respect of those relatives who are deprived of the inheritance, or for those who deserve it, or for friends and those sincere people who served the deceased, and sympathizers, or for the virtuous and community deeds.
فمن خاف من موص جنفا أو إثما فأصلح بينهم فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم.
Translation: But if someone fears bias or wrongdoing on the part of the person making the will and puts things right between the people involved, in that case he has not committed any sin. Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. Explanation: Allah wants to protect the rights of all. In the previous verse, the rights of the dying person were protected. Changing his or her will by their heirs was declared a sin. In this verse, it is the rights of the heirs that are considered and protected, possible errors of the dying person. A will should not be a tool to deprive the poor while increasing the wealth of the rich, nor should it be used to settle scores and leave some close relatives out. Doing so tears the social fabric that Allah intends to strengthen. Thus, Allah gives the heirs the room to help correct what is wrong. An unjust will can come from 2 sources. First, a dying person may have bias and preference that he or she is not aware of. In this case, the heirs are encouraged to advise and make the person aware of the bias that he or she may have. This will not only protect the rights of the heirs, but it will also protect the dying person from unintentionally making errors. Second, the dying person may intentionally use his or her will to discriminate. In this case, their heirs have a duty to make the necessary corrections and protect the family from injustice. If a heir interferes with a just will and changes it for his or her own benefit, then the violation is a sin that will be punished. If, on the other hand, a heir makes an effort to advise the dying person against a bias, then it is mercy and salvation for both the dying and the living. Similar is the case of a heir that interferes to prevent a deliberate injustice done by the dying. Allah commands us that when we choose to write our will, it is best to consult knowledgeable people in order to avoid bias and injustice. This way, problems are addressed before they occur and the social fabric is preserved and strengthened. The command, "But if someone fears bias or wrongdoing," encourages unity among people because the person who comes forward to suggest corrections in the will may not be a heir or a beneficiary of the will of inheritance. Allah uses the generic term "someone" because this person could be a witness or a guest who heard about the will. What drives this person to give advice is the love and concern he or she has for fellow believers.
صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.